Hello, how's everybody doing? I guess we'll just wait a couple minutes if anybody wants to check it out live. So some of this is going to be vague, and it has to be because when we start getting into specifics, it it's going to shorten our focus, and it's going to allow for a lot of uncertainty. So any vagueness is not intentionally vague. It's because this is something that's universally known, and it's going to apply to everybody. I'm not a theologian. I haven't been to any formal training with the Bible or anything like that, and I'm not a Freemason. I'm not initiated into any type of secret society, but I do have something to say here, and so I guess we'll wait a couple more minutes, and then we're going to be actually getting into the Bible for this, and talking about why the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is actually duality. I don't know if you've heard of duality before, but duality is the human mindset in every man, woman, and child until you lose it. And what happens from the time of birth, you begin to lose yourself from the time you're born. And as you age, you lose yourself more and more. And there's deception upon deception that is built up onto you until you lose yourself completely and you get inside of this big movie of trying to please everybody else and trying to get your love from outside of yourself. And that's what duality is. And that's the mindset. They figured out the mind, and they figured out how to manipulate people. So duality is what we're under right now. It's a spell. It is a spell. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. I see there's a couple people watching. We'll start in Genesis. It's 2:16, and this version is the CSB. It's not a KJV or anything like that. But so 2:16 reads like this: And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree of the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For on the day you eat from it, you will certainly die. So after we eat of this tree, a destructive process takes over with humankind. And this is what we're under right now. This is why we see destruction everywhere. Because what duality is designed to do is turn you against yourself and turn you against the people closest to you. All under the guise of having the knowledge of good and evil. In actuality, they created the knowledge of good and evil. So what you think, when you think you're discovering and being able to distinguish, you're limiting yourself to these two colors. It doesn't have to be white and black. It could be any two colors. It could be orange and red. And what you're limiting your view now and restricting yourself and limiting yourself to the views that they gave you of what good and evil is. So as you're pointing the finger, you're actually pointing the finger at yourself. And this is it's a genius plan because they've actually done it right in our face all day long. And it's all we've ever known. It's the only thing we've ever known. So this image here that is actually the image I put up for this live feed is that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Because it's good and evil. Okay, they're gonna define both of them for you. All right. The reason I chose a checkerboard instead of checkers instead of chess is we don't need to know who they are. Okay, the Pope and you know, this other club here, and police officers and whatnot. We don't need to know who they are. We just need to know what the evil is. They want us to know. They want us to tell you it's a specific person because they're going to tell you who the bad guy is. They're going to tell you who the good guy is. So we just want to know who they are, the ones lying to us. All right. So the red and the black here, because I wanted to show you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be white and black. They're just going to limit you to two to make you think that you have a choice. They're going to make you think now the knowledge of good and evil. They're going to make you believe you're choosing. You understand? This is the trick here that's going on, that people are under a spell. The reason it's so simple, that's the trick, to make it in your face, to do this right in your face all day long. So the black and the red there shows you it could be any two colors. You could be pointing the finger at anybody. As long as you're doing their system of duality, they win. They win every time. So we just one more time hit that verse again. Genesis 2:16. And the Lord God commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree of the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For on the day you eat from it, you will certainly die. Everything is destruction right now. What it does is your mind, you swing back and forth from good and evil like this. You're always from left to right, unstable, because you don't know where the truth is, because they gave you the knowledge of good and evil. They defined it for you. Okay, it's a lie. All right, this is what they've done, and they've given it to you here in this book because they want to do it in your face. The Bible is duality, so they're doing it right in your face. That's how this is able to work. So you will certainly die, and that's why you see destruction everywhere and people destroying themselves. It doesn't have to be a physical suicide. Your mindset is killing yourself. Your mindset of hate, love disguised as hate, and fear. Every decision you make is based on fear. Oh, what's going to happen to me if I do this? This person's not going to like this. We have grown men and women still concerned if their parents would approve at this age, you know? We're so taught to, our family is the best. Our family is the one. Blood's thicker than water. The family was the one who made sure you didn't stumble onto the truth. The family was the one who made sure you were like them. Okay? It's like, oh, if it was good enough for me, it's good enough for my kids. And don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to leave your family, but when you see verses, you know, a lot of people still are using the name Jesus, Yeshua. When you see verses talking about, I come to divide, mother will be against daughter, father against son. I come to send fire on the earth. I didn't come to bring peace. All right? Because your whole family's in duality. Your whole family's in duality still. They're in the matrix. They're totally in the matrix. So that's why when you see those negative verses, and nobody's giving you the right explanation for why the supposedly negative verses, because we're under false positivity. One love and this, but not telling you what the love is. It is one love. It's not their one love. They want you to think we're entering into this false utopia so you stop looking for love. You know what I mean? As long as you stay in duality, nothing will ever improve in this world, and they know that. So with all their little cute, shh, quiet and all this, and all their little hand symbols that they want to initiate into you, they don't even know these things because it's based on a need-to-know basis. Half of these, when you're getting initiated into these beliefs, the Freemasons and the Moorish Americans and all these different Melchizedekian orders of these religions, and you accept them the way they're handed down, you're never going to go anywhere. It's a loop. You're in a loop. And now you pass on that virus to another person, and you could think you're doing good and having a good heart. You're just passing on the knowledge of good and evil, another man-made belief onto another human being. So the cycle continues. Why is nothing changing? Why this is why nothing's changing. So that's what's going on with the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. Now in Ephesians 6:12. Ephesians 6:12. So first of all, let's start from 6:10. All right. Ephesians 6:10. Finally be strengthened by the Lord and by his vast strength. Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the tactics of the devil, right? For our battle is not against flesh and blood. You're not fighting yourself. You're not here to, you're not warring against yourself. That's the deception. They've got you fighting other human beings and yourself, destroying yourself. So the war, that's not what the war is about. Okay? The battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the world powers of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavens. So there's nothing higher than your dome. All right? You're not warring against, I'll tell you something, you're not warring against yourself, your brother, or any of these people that got you pointing the finger at. You're warring against these ideas that are up here. That's going to make you an unstable individual. Never in the truth, because they gave you the knowledge of good and evil. They tricked you. So you're going to be swinging back in duality until you die. Almost getting stupider as you go. Because you're constantly swinging like a pendulum on a grandfather clock. Back and forth, swinging. Swinging back and forth. Because the powers and principalities of this world put those ideas in your head. They put these ideas of duality inside of your mind so that you could never find. You're looking out. The problem is here, these ideas up here. Not physically killing yourself like they want you to do. Destroying your children, lying to your children. Pointing the finger at this guy. The Democrat, the Republican, this country, that country. No, as long as you never find out the truth, they win. Any revolution you think you're doing, they continue to win. They're all government-led revolutions. You have to revolutionize your mind and lose the lies that you've been taught. That's what you got to do. So just one more time with this verse 12. For our battle is not against flesh and blood. You're not killing yourself. You're going to kill that false self, the duality of man that they placed inside of you to control you. That's what you're going to destroy. You're going to gain your real self back, like it always should have been. The paradise in the garden, Adam and Eve. You're going to regain, we had everything at the beginning. You're going to regain your true self of what you were, what we had, everything. The de-evolution of man. The lie that you needed society for everything. The lie that we were cavemen in huts. Because when we look and see these certain civilizations, the remnants of people that are there, right? And we think, well, we've come a long way. No, every time they do this, they leave a little paper trail, a remnant of people who were there before. What we once were is far beyond what we are now. We've been in darkness. We've been in total darkness. They're the ones surviving, hiding out underground. Every time they pull a reset, keeping the secrets, hiding out underground, keeping it from the rest of us. All right? So one more time with the 12. For our battle is not against flesh and blood. It's not against yourself. Against the rulers. Against the authorities. Against the world powers of this darkness. Against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavens. Like I said, there's nothing higher here. This is where they put those ideas. The principalities put those principles in your head, and you're going to just be warring against yourself. Why? Because we don't know, because they gave us the knowledge of good and evil, and we weren't supposed to take that. It's a sick game. It's a real sick game of duality that they're playing here. So if we go to Mark 10:15, on Mark 10:15, I assure you, Whoever does not welcome the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it. All right? Until you go back to your original state of mind of Adam and Eve in paradise, that we had everything, that you were complete, until you go back to a pure heart, instead of swinging up here, and until you start using this one, the full spectrum of colors, not the two that they give you, the good and evil that they gave you to limit you and restrict you and keep you down and have you destroying yourself. And, understand that these people are cowards who've done this. It's not the strong eat the weak anymore. These are very cowardice individuals who are hateful and fearful individuals who are projecting themselves on you. That's why this world is based off of fear. The fear is the energy, because that's what they are. And they've projected it on you. And they've hidden it all from you. So you want to go back to paradise, to realizing that you were complete in the garden. You were already complete in the garden. You had everything. And that's the state you go back to before you took their knowledge, their information that they put in you, their form, to destroy you. It's a virus. It's a time bomb. The system was designed to fail, and you can never fix a broken system with a broken system. So they're going to put this in your face, the book of duality, right in your face, because that's the way to do it. So that you never learn. So that you never catch on. So, as a child, a pure heart, the pure heart. And then, if we check out Colossians chapter 2, 13 through 15. Colossians 2, 13 through 15. And when you were dead in trespasses, right? Full-blown matrix. And in the uncircumcision of your flesh, he made you alive with him and forgave us all our trespasses. Okay, 14. He erased the certificate of debt with its obligations that was against us and opposed to us. So totally against your nature. They've got you going totally against your nature. Feeling guilty for things that you didn't even do, the lies that they taught you. That's how insane it is. It's insane. It's designed to make you kill yourself and your kids and everybody around you. He erased the certificate of debt with its obligations that was against us and opposed to us, and has taken it out of the way by nailing it to the cross. He disarmed the rulers and authorities. It's already been done. This is something we all have, we were born with. And disgraced them publicly. He triumphed over them by him. So they have no power. It's a submission thing. You submit to duality. The only way that this beast works is if you willingly submit to this system of duality. That's the only way that this works and continues. You willfully submit. You give life to this thing. It's been nailed to the cross. Duality is gone. All the deception, once you find out that this whole thing was a lie, and you don't turn this awakening, your awakening back into fear. Because now that you know, what tends to happen with people, they go right back into fear. I'm awake. Oh, I'm awake. Then you start thinking about what all these people are doing. Now it's back into fear. They got you right where they want you. You're back into the loop, the circle. The circle wasn't supposed to be like that. In your heart, in your center, when you stop using the duality and as an unstable, ill person at dis-ease with himself, as much as you pretend, and you're back in here centered in your heart, the full spectrum of life and love can flow out from you. Love from here, the center point, out. Not just two colors up here, right here, your heart, out. If you don't love yourself, you can never teach anybody love or explain anything properly without trying to add your own initiation and your own mix to it. Okay? So everyone wants to spin it. Everybody wants to connect their little virus to it. And that's going to bring us full circle. The serpent biting itself in the tail. Oh, the symbol of life. No, it's the symbol of a snake biting itself, killing itself. The serpent, the 360 serpent, you're killing yourself. You're biting yourself with their ideas that they gave you. You bring that into the new world, you're bringing the virus into the new world. It's not going to last. You're going to infect everybody. You purify your heart back to the state of a child before it was brainwashed. Pure love, intuition. Not this grief, this knowledge of this fake, this false information, this grief that brings you grief, you know, and that brings destruction upon you and everybody around you. Why is nothing changing, right? Because they're not telling you what's going on. They're pointing the finger at this, that, and the other, instead of simplifying and pointing the finger at the true evil and the true way to know thyself and to get back in touch with yourself and the sick game that they're playing. Absolutely. This is a sick game that they're playing on you. Make no mistake about it. So, the Freemasons, the order. Before that, it was the order. For thousands of years, they were in Afghanistan and whatnot. These are evil individuals who, yes, they do exist. By you denying what's going on here, these principalities and these powers, by you denying the real enemy, it's not going to go away. That's not the Christ consciousness. You thinking positive and then the evil is going to vanish. The evil is purifying, getting rid of that guilt. Get that guilt off your heart that they put there. Get that hate out of you. All this one world, one love, this is the false utopia they're bringing in. It is a one love, all right? But it's in knowing yourself again. And knowing that, listen, they gave us all these labels to divide us. White, black, Democrat, Republican. You're so limited on your spectrum. You're so seeing one view. That's what focus does. When you focus on something and it restricts you and your muscles restrict and tighten, contract, you're getting small. They're making you small. They're compartmentalizing you. Full disclosure, the full disclosure is for them. The full disclosure, they could care less what you disclose because you're doing it within duality. You're doing it within duality. If somebody wakes up, they're going to wake up. Not from giving them man-made ideas. You may be able to point somebody in direction that sparks something from inside them that they already had. Not to give your psychotic belief on them. This is not going to get us out of here. The revolution is not going to be televised. The revolution is going to start inside of you. So, the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, that's duality. That is duality. And it's a poison. It's a cancer. You're never going to find Satan that way. Or God that way. Because they gave you the knowledge of good and evil. It's a setup. It was a setup from the beginning. And this here, it's both. It's knowledge, it's good and evil. All right? They're going to define both of them. So no matter which square you jump to on the checkerboard, on the chessboard, you're playing their game. You're playing their game. Like I said, it doesn't matter what color because you're limiting yourself to these two thinking you have a choice. You're not choosing. They programmed you. They programmed you. You're on this board. You got to get off this board. Know yourself and love yourself. Not the responsibility to the matrix anymore. You lose that. You lose that false identity. That false your false self. You gain your true self. We're not the enemy. We're not warring against flesh. Even Jim Carrey, you know, yeah, man, it'll confuse people. He's saying, I'm not even here right now. And all these things that people don't understand. But he's trying to tell you kind of in his own words, more or less, or whatever guru that he talked to or whatever, and he came to some realization. But see, we're all on a different path in the journey. But eventually, all these psychotic views disappear when people are coming from a pure heart. And Jim Carrey is saying a lot of the same things. That, hey, listen, you lose that false self. That was all an act. They've got us all acting like characters in a movie. They're the directors. They're the directors here. So until these things are known and realized, no progress could be made. No, you never will know yourself. You'll live a lie your whole life. And that's where they want you, in duality. So they do these things in your face and all these symbols, and people are just trying to find out all these hidden meanings when a lot of these Masons don't even know the meanings. See? They have a master of a master, and then the master, and they got everybody serving the masters. Just go to work. Go to work. Get on some new truth movement. Get on this flat earth globe. And now you're in the truth. Just read your Bible. And yeah. Disclose it. Full disclosure. Yay, we won. No. It's a little bit not harder than that. It's a little easier than that, because the truth is known in the universe. And when people finally begin to change themselves, that's the only way we're going to be able to see an awakening or change. It's not going to be the way they keep telling you. Stop taking your cues from them. Oh, what's the biggest thing you hear? Oh, look, everybody's awakening. We got this mass awakening going. And they're just sitting back like, wow, good. Let them think they're awake. You know what I mean? This has been going on, you got to understand, for thousands of years. And everybody's ego wants to make them attach a special meaning to these things. No, they're doing it in our face. So blessings to everybody. The knowledge of the tree of good and evil is duality. And it is being controlled by rulers, powers that be, the Freemasons, the systems. Don't go pointing the finger at people unless you know what you're talking about, because that's what they want. That's going to bring us full loop again. It's the system itself. You take an oath. You know, the police officer doesn't have to know. The lawyer doesn't have to know what he's doing. He took an oath. He took an oath to undermine you, to have obeisance to his master. So the system will continue. Right? They want to keep you in the dark. These judges are judging over lies. They're not judging over laws. They're ruling over lies and treating you as a slave, keeping you in darkness. So once we know these things, we could be at peace within ourselves and love, and true love, and begin to know ourselves again. Like I said, blessings. I hope that somebody got something out of it, because it wasn't me. I didn't get initiated. I didn't spin my own belief. These are things that just are. Not a theologian either. These are things that just are. They're just reality of the universe, the way it works, and how we interact with it. We're going to be talking about some real news, some real national news in this country. Before that, let's look at some of the news that's on USA Today. I don't normally look at any news at all, but I decided to go on this website just to see. So this is what it's showing here for news. Check out these huge storms on Uranus. Death penalty sought in Florida bank shooting. Some other bullshit, and each one funnier than the next. But this is your guys' news. Oh, and birds hit airplanes. Wow. Wow. Wow, that's your national news. Hmm. You know, these phones are like weapons. And this is what the kids are walking around with now? And their information is coming from what? Maybe their mother, their friends, and then the teachers they go in front of at school every day. And that's the only guidance and information that they're getting. Where's all the men at? Where's all the fathers at? Maybe marriage was like high class prostitution for them, and they're just letting their wife think she's in control so they can get a little pussy at night every night. I mean, is that what marriage has become for you guys? It's disgusting. High class prostitution. You wonder why your kids are fucking retarded, you know? You give them one of these things so it can reinforce all the lies they already got going in their fucked up little fluoridated vaccinated brains. And you want to know why nobody can figure anything out? Look at your news. Facebook these memes all day. If you don't know what you're getting into, these memes are just pure child's play. Duality, over and over and over. Pointing the finger at somebody else and never talking about the real issue. We're talking about grown men and women with the minds of 15-year-olds. If they're lucky. Arrested development. People that are emotionally children, you know, they're out there successful in the business world. Six-figure jobs. But emotionally, they have the mind of a child. So that's the national news. That's the real national news. You're little kids. You're still little kids. You haven't grown up yet. So until you grow the nutsack and balls to be able to talk about this shit with somebody, then you ain't doing shit. If people are calling each other white, black, Latino, then grow some nuts and use the same fucking labels that they're talking about, so they can find out that their whole life was a lie. Don't be scared to talk about these so-called blacks, whites, and whatever. That's the terminology they're using to trigger them, to brainwash them. Black History Month. MLK. That's not to liberate anybody's mind. They give you this every year to keep you down, keep you dumbed down and retarded, and play with your emotions. You get off on watching somebody get their emotions played with like that, like a little kid. The Freemasons dug the slave tunnels. It's a known fact. The Freemasons dug them. Come on, let's go. We're going to free you guys. You come out of the tunnels in the north, and now everybody's a slave in the whole country. There's your national news. You're all slaves. Afraid to call people out on how childish they are. The Freemasons gave you those terms. White, black, and every other little label that you guys use, and think of yourselves and identify with those labels so you can have the mind of a victim, and then teach that to your kids and perpetuate this whole thing over and over and over, and then have the ball, and then you want to complain about it, and you don't understand why it's so fucked up. You allow this shit to go on. High class prostitution. That's what you guys' marriage is. You're gonna let her say feel she's in control, do whatever, and you don't want to argue and everything, so you can get a little There's other ways to get pimping out your kids to the public school system. Uh, so that's the real national news, not what they're giving you guys. MLK, when they make statues of these people, immortalize these people for you, there's a reason. It's not to liberate anybody. Equal rights. The guy was a Freemason. They sacrifice their own people all the time. JFK might as well have been MLK. That's for you to be brainwashed. There's no other reason that these things are still talked about today, other than to have power over your mind and how you think and how you look at other people. Yeah, you got to talk about race, because that's what they're calling each other. White, black. You have to talk about that to show somebody how silly they are. If you're afraid to talk about it, you're probably the racist. If you find yourself in the consensus as far as race with their narrative, you're probably the racist and don't even know it, or you know it. Maybe you're guilty about something. This is an old trick. It's been going on forever. Your language came from your enemies. The Spanish language came over here from the Spanish conquistadors 500 years ago. That's why people speak Spanish here. They weren't speaking that before. When your enemies conquer you, they put their language in place to confuse you, keep you down and control you. That's why we speak English in this country. We went to war against them, or so we thought. If you guys believe all those wars were real, they're real. People died, but if you believe that it went down like they said it did, for the reasons that they told you it did, they wrote the history books to get an emotional response out of you. It's a design plan. It's a setup. So, and if you think you're better than somebody else because you see them getting manipulated and getting their heartstrings pulled and played with by the news, well, you're no better than them. You're getting played too, because you're not telling them about it. You're feeling superior on something that we're all getting played. We're all getting played here. So, until you can talk about those things, and you're letting your kids go off and get misled at school, all their friends and everybody they come across is encouraging this lie and this deception. And then you're putting this in their hands. This ain't gonna, they don't know how to use this. This is gonna enforce all the lies. Now, because you won't stand up for the truth. So, we have emotionally arrested people who, like I said, you're 30, 40, and 50 years old. You're successful. You have a six-figure job. But inside, you're a little child. And it shows. And it shows. It really does. So those are the things that should be important to you, not perpetuating this system. Okay? And that's how it is. Basically, a little more in depth on the Matrix, other than your usual PSYOP, alternative media PSYOP, and stuff that you picked up from, Keanu Reeves in the Matrix movie, Neo. What makes the psyop particularly hilarious, and I guess appealing, is how it's been modified for this, technological age, which is nothing more than suppression of technology, and and other things. But the Matrix essentially is a flawed theory because this entire reality is already designed to be fake. It's a, they've got the real and then the fake overlaying the real on everything. Your food's modified, your water's fluoridated, your lawyers are liars, your judges are criminals. It goes on and on. Every aspect of society. And for that reason, the whole theory is pretty laughable. And in addition to this whole entire system being an artificially created system, the people inside are pretty much artificial people. They're really not there mentally. And that's what I meant when you may have heard me speak about artificial intelligence. We are the artificial intelligence because, it starts from day one. It starts from before birth, really. But certainly from the day we're born, incessant attacks on our psyche to break us down and make us compliant monkeys, or make you try to rebel or imagine you're rebelling so that they can identify you as a threat, or just let you waste away and kill yourself. Killing yourself, people tend to think of suicide, but we don't really understand that this whole system is designed to make you kill yourself slowly, kill your potential, kill your future, kill your body, kill the ideas that you could have cultivated. It's interesting that the word school backwards is basically lock, because it certainly locks your mind. And we would be foolish to think that, you're typically 12 years of your basic school all the way through high school, and in public school that's pretty much paid for, that the government would want to pay for your education to make you really smart, to make you really full of these original ideas, or how to cultivate your own ideas on things, and make you a really independent person, independent thinker, physically independent within society. You can take care of yourself, you can provide your own food, you can provide your own water, you can help people, you could doctor somebody up if they were injured, you could do everything on your own. They would never want that, and that's certainly the opposite of the reason that it exists. It exists to make you dumbed down and dependent upon this system to continue. So the Matrix is very laughable, and what it does is it's a huge distraction. There's many people that believe we're in some kind of computer simulation, because that's essentially what this modern day spin-off is of the Matrix, is that you are essentially in a computer simulation, not here. And like I said, for the reasons of your whole world already being fake, and people essentially being artificial intelligence working towards the system, not their own benefit. It's totally easily disproved theory with just a little bit of